Former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev said that German manufacturers making Taurus missiles as well as British servicemen training Ukrainian military in Ukraine would be acceptable targets for Russian forces should they supply Kyiv. In a Telegram post, Mr. Medvedev first took aim at the recently appointed British Defence Minister Grant Shapps, who said that London plans to send military instructors to Ukraine in addition to continuing to train the Ukrainian armed forces in Western nations. This makes our armed forces legally able to target their instructors, having full knowledge that they will be mercilessly annihilated. In particular, as British NATO specialists, Mr. Medvedev wrote on Telegram, and not as mercenaries. According to the British Ministry of Defence, Russia is getting ready for multiple additional years of fighting in Ukraine. According to the MOD, stolen papers show that by 2024, Russian defense spending is expected to account for 30% of all expenditures. According to the report, these numbers indicate that Russia is preparing for many more years of fighting in Ukraine. According to authorities, Russian shelling killed a 61-year-old man last night in Malaya Tokmachka, Zaporizhia. A 66-year-old woman was also hurt in the shelling, according to Yuri Malashko, chief of the military administration for the area. According to the administration, there were 16 reports of residential structures and infrastructure facilities being destroyed. According to a Ukrainian military commander, about 250 of Vladimir Putin's forces have been killed or hurt in southern Ukraine over the past 24 hours. The casualties, according to Ukrainian authorities, happened on Saturday in Tabria, a village in Zaporizhia, southern Ukraine, where Ukrainian soldiers are trying to advance for a tactical territorial advantage. Brigadier General Alexander Tarnovsky stated on his Telegram channel on Sunday that the enemy had lost 248 people over the previous day, 84 dead, 163 injured, and 1 captured. It happens at the same time that Dmitry Medvedev, a former Russian leader, issued a warning that Moscow would annex more of Ukraine after first claiming Luhansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson last year. The special military operation will go on until the Nazi dictatorship in Kyiv is totally destroyed. Our team will prevail. And Russia will continue to add more areas, according to Mr. Medvedev. As Russian troops encounter Ukraine's counteroffensive, Moscow continues to occupy the 4 regions but does not fully control any of them. According to Ukrainian air forces on Sunday, 16 of the 30 or so drones that Russia launched on Ukrainian soil during the course of the previous night were shot down by Ukraine's air defense systems. Drones were fired from the south, southeast, and north, according to the Telegram messaging app. Authorities claimed that an attack was taking place in the Cherkasy region of central Ukraine. The adversary used attack drones to bombard our Cherkasy district in large numbers at night. Sadly, there were attacks against Uman's industrial infrastructure, according to Cherkasy Governor Igor Tabarets on Telegram. As a result, warehouse fires started. He added that 1 individual was hurt, mentioning in particular the location of the grain storage. Civilian infrastructure and warehouses were also damaged in the southern Mykolaiv region and the eastern Dnipropetrovsk district, according to a statement from the Ukrainian presidential office. It was impossible to independently verify the reports. In an early parliamentary election in Slovakia on Saturday, voters will choose between a populist former prime minister who ran on a pro-Russia and anti-American platform and a liberal, pro-Western newcomer. Election results could change the small Eastern European nation's stance on supporting the neighboring Ukraine in its conflict with Russia, endangering the tenuous unity of the European Union and NATO. If Robert Fico, 59, succeeds in retaking office, he and his socialist SMER, or Direction, party have threatened to end Slovakia's military assistance to Ukraine in Russia's conflict. In an early parliamentary election in Slovakia, voters will choose between a populist former prime minister who ran on a pro-Russia and anti-American platform and a liberal, pro-Western newcomer. According to Jens Stoltenberg, Secretary General of NATO, Poland will find methods to resolve problems with Ukraine without having those recent divisions affect its military assistance. Since Poland, one of Ukraine's fiercest friends during the Russian invasion, opted to impose a restriction on Ukrainian grain imports, the 2 neighboring countries have experienced tension in their relations. Poland announced last week that it would only carry out previously agreed-upon armament sales to Ukraine and that it would prioritize restocking its own arsenal.